Chronological Bible in a Year, day 178. We're going to take a pause between Ahab and Jehoshaphat to focus on the prophet Elijah. Elijah has amazing highs, and as we're going to see, some amazing lows, and these 3 chapters tell us so much about this prophet. We see a ton of miracles at the beginning of this section, from a famine to ravens feeding a prophet to God giving a widow an endless supply of flour and oil to feed her son, and Elijah. We see Elijah bring the widow's son back to life. We see Elijah challenge the prophets of Baal to a prophet battle, and some great smack talk like, hey, maybe your God's taking a dump. And in the end, God sending fire to just obliterate the sacrifice to prove he is God alone. And we see the Queen of Israel furious. Jezebel is a worshiper of Baal. She musters the Israelite armies to hunt down and kill Elijah, and Elijah is on the run. God summons Elijah to a mountain, and as Elijah waits, he sees a wind, an earthquake, a fire, and in none of those things does he find God, but then the voice of God comes to him in the aftermath. God asks Elijah what's going on, and Elijah tells him in verse 14, I've been very zealous for the Lord, the God of armies. But the Israelites have abandoned your covenant. They've torn down your altars. They've killed your prophets with the sword, and I alone am left, and they're looking for me to take my life. But then God gives him a command. God says, go. Anoint a new king over Aram. Anoint a new king over Israel. Anoint a new prophet in your place. And then in verse 17, God tells him, Jehu, the new king of Israel, Jehu will put to death whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, the new king of Aram. Elisha, the new prophet, he will put to death whoever escapes the sword of Jehu. But I will leave 7,000 in Israel, every knee that has not bowed to Baal and every mouth that has not kissed him. A very small minority, 7,000 from 10 tribes who have not turned to worship Baal. But we also get the prophecy that Elisha is going to be like the third final line of defense. He's the free safety. He's the guy keeping the enemy out of the end zone here. Elisha will put to death whoever escapes the sword of Jehu. Now, Elisha is one of my favorite characters for 2 reasons, Bear 1 and Bear 2, and we'll get to those in a little bit. But here's a question for us today. How can we seek God in times of despair? Elijah was on the mountaintop and now he's on the valley bottom. How can we come to God on our highs and our lows just as he did? I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next in this amazing story. But until then, God bless.